Welcome back to another episode of a city planner playing a city builder, and we're playing Cities Skylines. We're back in the City of Bluffside Crossing, and if you recall where we left off, we were looking to improve the city last time and not really expand. We finished Bluffside Park and built the neighborhoods along, I guess if we're orienting ourselves, we built the neighborhoods to the east. Still no specializations, and right now we're starting to experience some issues with our electricity availability, water availability, and sewage treatment availability. We also had our garbage issues last time. We had a recycling center here and a recycling center over here. Lots of garbage problems. We need to get this remedied. We're also starting to see some traffic build up at our main intersection. We have one intersection in total going to the old part of our town, the original part, the part that will someday become our dense core. So that's a little overview of where we were. And today we're going to continue to try to remedy the electricity and water availability issues. One thing to notice is that we have lots of money now. I'm going to try to make a little bit more money though, because we're going to need it today. We're going to try to do a lot. So one of the issues that we have to remedy is our electricity availability. So we currently have these 2 coal-powered plants and then a few windmills. I think we could do better. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do much better immediately until we get some more citizens. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what we should do to increase our power output. And it seems like the natural thing to do at this point would be to construct an oil power plant. But I don't want to just add that to our repertoire of power plants. I'd actually like to replace what we have. Primary reason for this is the pollution that we're seeing. So I want to look at the geography of this land. It's a challenging spot because we're on a hill and there's not really a lot of opportunities to build on a flat area. So I think this might be one of the first places where we start to curve our roads a bit. This is something that in reality happens often. I'm sure that you're all well aware of that, but one of the reasons that roads curve now in contemporary planning is to take into account the geography of a particular area. So to try to fit in whatever's being built with the natural environment. So we're going to try to do the same thing. I did mention in maybe the first episode that I don't want to have local roads teeing into the arterial. So I'm going to have a collector come off here. And we're going to use that collector and try to follow that natural slope of the hill. A little ugly. We'll fix that though. Oh, big town. So what do we unlocked? High density zoning, blimps, incineration plant, so that'll help us with our garbage issues, and a bunch of other stuff. Solar updraft tower. That makes me happy. I wasn't really excited to start using dirty electricity generation, but I would use it if I have to. But now it looks like we have some other options. So here's where I start dipping into my mods. So I want this to conform to where the hillside was. Unfortunately, sometimes you end up with some pretty ugly terraforming. So we can fix that. So I think that looks a ton better. Now the question is, how are we going to make our road fit with this? And the answer is we're probably just not going to. We're going to leave some empty space, and that's going to be just fine. So let's see. Solar updraft. We also have a geothermal power plant. Does not pollute. 80 megawatts. The solar updraft, though, produces significantly more. And we need power. We're going to be growing. And knowing that this is a green power source, I am going to place it on the arterial. I want to start getting some of these industrial uses away from the residential uses. So I am going to eliminate the 2 power plants, and I am going to start phasing out these industrial uses that are on the other side of the road. I'm okay with recycling plants being over there. I understand there's a noise problem. That's not a big deal. We can deal with that. Let's see, what else do we need? We need to start. Let's see, we've got power now. Garbage. So incinerators are a little dirty. This is one of the mods I have. It's the large advanced incinerator. So it's interesting. We actually have been using recycling plants up until now. We have the smaller incinerators. I think I'm going to be okay with the smaller incinerators. At this point, we just need to start getting some of this garbage out of here. We are going to place it far away from the residential zones, and we're going to try to start emptying this. I want to eliminate the landfill that was over here and start cleaning up these lands over here. I think this could be a really special residential zone in the future. So I just want to be cognizant of that and think about what we might want to do in the future, not just what we want to do right now. And luckily, I realized I disconnected a whole bunch of stuff without really contemplating how it was impacting everything that was going on. Probably should have been a little more thoughtful about that. Ugh, ugly. It's dirty ground. All right, so we've got our water lines underneath the right-of-way. Oh, don't like that. So I'm a little bit of a perfectionist about some of this stuff sometimes. I just want to make sure that I can maintain it in the right-of-way. I don't want it to move out at all. So I think that the recycling center is a nice transition between what will be a residential area and the industrial area. I don't mind having the industrial area close to some residences. Reasonably, people need to walk to work, and this will provide an opportunity. That said, we need to be aware of how things are set up. We don't want to intermingle them too much. Okay. So let's finish off our old town. And I know that some of the comments I got in my first video told me to embrace curves. And I'm going to do that, just not in this particular area. There's a good reason for that. And it really comes down to the layout of historic cities. Historic cities expected to experience rapid growth. And because of that, they used street layouts and designs that facilitated rapid growth. And one of those ways of facilitating it was the grid. So I want to be true to that in this old portion of town. And then as we buy our next area, I want to really embrace the topography and use the topography to guide what we're doing with the layout of the roads. But that will come later. We can still do some interesting things. So this will be one of those interesting things. I want to try to make these line up at 90s as best I can. One of the things that I know I'm complicating right now is in the future, I know that I'm going to want to meet some of these roads or I'm going to want to use some of these roads as really dense areas in our downtown. And I know that I'm currently making that a challenge. That said, you gotta liven things up a little bit here and there, right? So we're gonna have a mix of some kind of interesting grids coming together and meeting. And I think that there's kind of some empty land right there. We're gonna use that as a place to snake a pedestrian path through here in the future. Now, I was thinking about leaving these separate. I kind of like it. In the beginning, I toyed with, at least mentally, the idea of having a smaller grid in the core part of downtown. And I still think that there is some logic to that. I just didn't do it right away. Okay, let's make sure that our junctions aren't all messed up. By all messed up, I mean unwarranted traffic signals. Now, it's real technical terminology there, all messed up. So we're going to go through and adjust all of these. Now, I know it might seem right now like it's not that big of a deal. Why do I care? It's going to make a huge difference to my traffic flow later. And right now, we have very good traffic flow. So we might as well maintain that the entire time. Let's see where we're at, 82%. And really, it's this one intersection. And this could be a candidate for a roundabout in the future. I'd want to modify a couple things to make it a little more viable. I think that these local roads are a little too close to the roundabout, the area where we'd had the roundabout, to make it viable. But that'll be a conversation for a later episode. Let me know in the comments if you want me to turn this, either one of these two intersections are really our only two signalized intersections, to a roundabout. Okay, so we're not going to grow right now because we don't have enough water. So let's see what we can do to remedy that. Luckily, we are flush with cash right now, so that's helpful. Look at that ground pollution. Just want to make sure. Yeah, see, so there's ground pollution right there. I'm actually concerned about where our existing water pump is. It's pretty close to that ground pollution, and I've had death spirals come where I don't realize that the water source is way too close to the treatment plant. As a result, you end up in a situation where you're pumping dirty water and making everyone sick. So I think that what we're going to do is relocate this further up the stream and bring a road over to it. And then eliminate that other one. I don't need that road, but I just want to keep it somewhat reasonable. Now here's the one place where I'll deviate from that rule that I said about keeping water pipes under right-of-way. This would all be city-owned property, so not really as much of a need. All right, so now we are doing great with our water. Now we have a sewage problem. So I want to pay attention to this for a quick second. So we have our eco plant.
And I think that's the way we'd like to go. Some for now. So let's add a couple of those, because I think that we are in a pretty dire spot as far as water sewage treatment goes. Okay, between the two of those, we should be in a good spot. Let's see. It's all functioning properly? Huh. No, we are not in a good spot. We are in the same spot. And I think the main reason for that is I didn't look at the capacity of the eco treatment plants in comparison to the standard treatment plant. So sometimes you'll have a wastewater complex and water pumps in a common area. For now, that's going to be here. I don't think that this is going to live here forever. Once we have access to better facilities, we're probably going to take advantage of that. Okay. So we know that we need some more commercial zoning. And I think that one of the things we're going to want to do is take a look at our existing zoning. This isn't a great place for residential properties. So why don't we just start eliminating those right now and replacing them with commercial, which can tolerate this type of traffic. And not just tolerate it, commercial activity loves traffic. So we will give the commercial activity some traffic. I'm going to paint this all for now residential, and I'm going to take out a couple nodes that I'd like to be commercial. So having a little local main street, I think, would be a nice amenity in this area. Let's also bring some corner stores. And now we need to finish out the water system in this area. I realize I'm not snapping right now. Let's get snapping back on. Perhaps not the most efficient way of doing this in the game. The reality is you end up in real life having a lot more water pipes than you want. The really funny thing is, so I work on developments all the time where we're going to site the water, and you'll see that water's stubbed into like 4 or 5 different areas around the site because you just never know where a building is going to develop. So you want to make sure that you're giving options. So unfortunately, that means there's lots of wasted water pipes, lots of extra maintenance, and lots of extra places where things can break. Sometimes the developer will go in and fix that and remove some of those stubs, but more often than not, they don't, because they don't really have an incentive to do so. It's a city problem. So another issue that I'm seeing now is that we are at our capacity for the cemetery. So we're probably going to need to add another cemetery. One of the things you'll notice in older communities is that on main roads they'll have cemeteries. It's not awesome. It limits your ability to be flexible in the future, but it is realistic and reasonable, so I'm going to do it. It also is surrounded by homes, which will make transporting bodies to the cemetery easier than it otherwise would be. So there that is. All right. Got this area filling in a bit. I think we really need to start thinking about where we're going to grow to next. So this is a decision I'd really like to leave up to you guys. We could go, let's 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I want to know in the comments if you'd like me to expand towards the interstate in Section 1. If you want me to go east of the community, Section 2, south, Section 3, or west, Section 4. They all have their unique challenges. I know which one I would naturally go towards. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag in this episode, but please let me know which one you'd like me to expand towards, and I will certainly go that way. For the time being, though, I think we're going to just think about what we have here, and we're going to start another grid. So while I'm waiting for this lovely trash facility to empty, let's see where we're at. It's not doing anything because we have too much garbage. Okay. Certainly going to need some more garbage processing if we ever want to see that empty. So I'm going to add one more. Now, I have mentioned a problem is that people will put too many of these in one place. I find that 2 is generally about the max you can do. I'm reluctant to put this here because it's next to the farmland. So I think temporarily I'm going to put it over here. Like I said, I like to move things. I'm willing to pay the extra money to get it right in the long run. Because in real life, this would be capped and it could become a park. That is not an option in the game. Although, if anyone knows of a mod that does that, let me know, because I would love to see that happen. So hopefully that'll start emptying. The reason I want that to empty so badly is I really want to expand this road to become a collector up until here at least. And right now with this garbage here, I can't actually do that. Oh. Shoot, that's why it wasn't working. I didn't have it on. That would make perfect sense. And let's get rid of this for now and see if that fixes it. Maybe we can still see this thing empty. All right. Back to our grid. I think I'm going to need to pause this momentarily because I'm going to destroy this power line. So I thought it would be interesting have this next grid follow the slopes of the river. We've got to respect topography to a certain extent because there really aren't many options for us. I also need to find a way to get across this sloped area. I think that might be our path. All right. So we definitely need a collector through here. Otherwise, we're really relying on that local road system to do a lot of work for us. Just in distributing traffic. Let's see. Really like to keep this clean. Said historic heart of town, even though we are freestyling a little bit down here. Just out of range. I'd still like to keep it as close to being a grid as possible in this particular area. Okay, so let's get some more water going. Again, with the snapping, turn it off. We will continue to follow that right away. That will be a little ugly and end all by its lonesome out there. And we'll connect this one up over here. Even though we're using way more water pipe than I'm sure most of you would prefer I use, we're still going to try to keep it minimal by not looping. So looping is actually another thing that when I talk to utility companies, they're always harping on me about. It's a way to ensure that if there's a break, you don't end up with a system that has to completely shut down. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about looping in this game. So there's not really many shopping opportunities in this particular part of town right now. So I do want to enhance those options down here. So I'm going to create a mini shopping district. I think that would be helpful to these residents. Create some opportunities to walk places. And the rest of it, I'm just going to residential. Now, that might seem extreme. Maybe at some point I'll superimpose some zoning maps for some real communities into these videos to show you that 80% in some cases of a city's land area is made up by single-family zoning. Do I agree with that? I mean, that maybe not in some cases. It depends on the size of the community, but it is something that is a reality. And honestly, most people are choosing in most communities to live in a single-family home. Although the times are changing, I know that I've lived in both multifamily and single-family homes myself, and I've enjoyed both. Let's see. Also, so one of the things about historic grids that I always find to be fun is they completely disrespect geography. And some of the reasons for this, you'd see that cities are designed, especially in times of colonialism, designed in the UK and just created in whatever place they were being built. So you'd have streets that once they're actually built are so steep that almost nobody can traverse them. But on a map, they look fantastic. So we're going to create a couple of those. Because why not? Let's loop this. I'll make my utility engineer friends happy. There we go. I think we have another opportunity to connect. Oh, small city. What do we get? All right, we're getting some transit. Getting our cargo train terminal that I talked about in episode 1 that I'm so excited for, along with our train station. Another excellent amenity. We need to get that plopped as soon as we can. And then some bigger transit options. So we also have cable cars, and I think it could be a really interesting city to have a cable car system in, because I don't really know how we would get someone from here to here unless they drive, because this is not going to be a place you can serve with transit. The densities are too low. There's one road, one way in, one way out. One of the things in the community that I work for that we try to prevent is having cul-de-sacs or individual roads longer than 900 feet without an outlet. So this would be absolutely a no-no. One of the main reasons for that is fire protection. So we can look at our fire protection. There is absolutely no way for a firefighter here to get down here in a timely manner. So that's certainly something we're going to need to start thinking about. We also have some industrial areas, so I might actually add some of those right off the bat. I would love to add them off the collector. Problem is I know that that's not a collector yet. We could use one of my modded collector roads. Really prefer not to at this point. I like the look and the functionality of the collectors that come with the game. So I'm going to hold out and just hope that things get better. Yeah, so we're having lots of issues with health in this area, with, I would imagine, schooling. We have a ton of elementary school of need over here. Not surprising. We also have high school need. So we're going to kind of have our central high and our southern high, I guess. So maybe this would be our educational complex in this part of the community. Recall, we do have one library. Libraries are very important. So we're going to put another library down here. We're going to add a clinic over to this civic complex that we have over here. So this will be helpful. I like to really disperse these buildings. I know that sometimes you'll see them concentrated, but I know that one way to prevent traffic is to keep people within walking distance of the buildings that they're going to use. So if they're going to use healthcare services, use it close to home. If they're going to use, you go to school, go close to home. If they're going to go to the store, go close to home. Okay, so I mentioned there's an opportunity to extend our trail system. So let's do that right now. Now for this, I'd like to keep some semblance of our brick going on. Let's just bring that up over here. All right, we didn't break it. We need some trees. One of the challenges of doing this in separate days is you just can't recall exactly what you used before. That's okay though. I think that this will do just fine. Again, try to follow the trail. Need to fill in some there, but that's okay. Let's just finish the rest by hand, because it didn't do a great job in a couple areas. Okay. Now we're at least giving some of these folks over here the option to walk, and since one of our city policies encouraged cycling, it also gives cyclists an opportunity. You see they're already taking advantage of it, even if they're doing a weird circle in the air. Okay. So yeah, I like that a lot. That is really good. I wish that we had an opportunity where there was a ledge where we could work this up, and maybe that opportunity is right here. But boy, that's going to be a challenge. That's where Move It probably comes into play. Okay, so our biggest need right now is industrial. So in our last few minutes, let's focus on that. Continue to build out our industrial area. I want to get that cargo terminal built. I think it's going to be really important for the community going forward. Okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I want to make this look a little prettier. And I think that looks much nicer keeping it up. Okay. So we need water. So you might have noticed that I'm spacing the farm tiles kind of awkwardly. I just think that the way that they plop is kind of strange. So as a result, I just and leave some space make it feel a little more natural, because it certainly doesn't feel or look natural. I do have the Industries expansion, and I will likely add some industries in the future, and this will make doing so easier as well. So one of the things you might not consider doing right off the bat is having some sort of path down from here, this industrial area. I think that there's a chance that people could use this. So I'm probably going to do that. I'm going to do a gravel path to try to make it tie in a little nicer. Let's see what we can do. There we go. I'm not too concerned about taking out an industrial building to make this work, because I think that this path is very important. Not going to try to build any trees near it. No point. I think a fence might be useful, or just getting this a little further away from that. But we'll worry about that later. I think that's probably the most useful. Let's make sure that we're not overextending into the hillside with what's being built there. So let's get that terminal set up. It's kind of our last thing for today. So these are always a struggle. They generate a ton of traffic, and if you don't build them appropriately, it can really be a killer for an area. So one of the things I think I want to do is try to segregate this a little bit from the existing industrial uses, because what you're going to do is see all of these new trips come on roads that are already being used. I'm using roads that fit the character of this area, and they don't carry traffic very fast. So I think to start, I want to get this collector road across the railroad. Struggling a little bit. Oh, that's not far enough. Shit. Okay. Try again. I can do this. That should work. Now I'm going to plop the cargo station. Ooh, it's ugly slopes there. But I think we might be stuck with them in this particular location. See if I can clean it up with move it at all. I think I might be able to do a little something to make this look a little more manageable. Start that slope a little sooner. I can't tell if I'm making this better or worse. It kind of seems like I'm making it worse. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about that a ton right now. At this point, I just want to make sure I get the functionality down. And I think going under might be, if I can pull it off, let me see. Not gonna work. Unless I get real creative. That's okay. What I really want to prevent is a at-grade crossing. Anything I can do to prevent that is a win in my book. What that might mean is I play with Move It a little more to make this a reality. Alright, now this is a little bit tedious, but I promise the payoff is worth it. I think I might know that little section is kind of throwing everything off. Alright. So, not perfect, but it'll work for now. Alright, let's see if power connects to that. I think we're good. Alright. So we have the ability to get some raw materials in and out of here. I want to make sure, yep, no stoplights, because I want whatever cargo comes here to be able to leave freely. In the future, I'd love to clean this up. Unfortunately, we're right at the edge of the city, doing as much as we can with this particular area. This could be interesting, though. We could bring this, continue this down, and meet up with this collector and have it loop around. It might be a way to distribute some of that industrial traffic and have some local roads being built off here to carry that traffic. So, again, thank you so much for watching my video and joining me on this journey as we build Bluffside Crossing. Again, I really want to thank you, and I want to know how you feel. Do you want me to purchase area 1, 2, 3, or 4 and expand into that area? Let me know down in the comments. Drop a like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you enjoy watching this content. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.